short week like it was. Cleaned up a handful of mistakes. Obviously, we weren't perfect tonight, but come out early in the first quarter, get points on the board that first drive right away. That stuff was huge, so it was a big win for us.
Well, the goals, still, go win every game you play. That's all you can worry about. So it's in the NFL, you take it one game at a time. There's no advantage of doing anything differently. And that's all we can do. Just try to fight our way back and give ourselves a chance to have a chance to win a division. No one's running away with this thing. That's all we can worry about right now.
You just got to keep digging. Put your head down and just keep digging away. Work harder. That's really all you can do. It's either you keep digging, you work harder, or you give up. And I don't think anybody in here is giving up.
All right, Chris, the Eagles came out and they turned into the team that we all thought they were going to be coming off the season they had last year. How were they able to dominate this Giants team?
Well, I think this game was lost for the Giants in their first 3 offensive possessions. You come out and you open the game, second play, you throw an interception. The Eagles convert for that touchdown pass to Alshon Jeffrey. You come back, Saquon Barkley, an explosive run, gets you down into the red zone. You can't convert. You got to settle for a field goal. Your defense gives you an opportunity. Olivier Vernon draws a holding penalty on Jason Peters, sets the Eagles drive back. They got a punt. Okay, you're in a situation now. You're pinned down deep in your own territory. Offense goes 3 and out. Guess what? Short field for Carson Wentz. They come back and score a touchdown. So before you blink, you're down 14-3. And for a team that has a lot of chemistry issues, a team that's still searching for an identity offensively, it's the last thing that you want to do on a short week with a division opponent when you're at home. Start slow. Dictated the complexion of the game. The Giants had no chance of climbing back into it.
Hey, the Eagles, I mean, welcome back, Philadelphia Eagles. Been wanting to see the team from last year all year, and we finally saw a version of it last night. Elite on third down, kept quarterback clean for the most part, and ferocious on the defensive line with their pass rush. That's how they won a Super Bowl last year. One of the best third down teams ever. Well, last night, Carson Wentz was 13 of 14 on third down. What'd you say? Started 10 of his first 10 in a row for Carson Wentz completing the ball on third down. Carson Wentz was sacked once. Lane Johnson didn't even know if he was going to play. See, before the game, you pointed out he was working out before the game with Doug Peterson, right?
Yep. He just out of nowhere, being on the injury report, they said it was a game time decision. Doug Peterson, the training staff were working out on the field. You could see, especially with that high ankle sprain, as an offensive lineman, man, a defensive lineman hear that, man, they are like...
You can't post on that ankle.
No, you can't put any pressure on it. So as a wide receiver and as an offensive lineman, I thought it started with their attitude. And it transfers from Lane Johnson. I saw him dap up the head coach after that workout. And I could see it wasn't his best, but what he was telling Doug was, I'm going to give you what I got. And the difference between that when you start a game, the leader of that offense, Jason Peters, he goes down with a bicep injury. Lane gets knocked out of the game for a play, but I've already committed everything I got. Compared to the Giants, what do they have? They got smoke and mirrors. They ain't got no leadership, and it's not a really talented team. So Odell Beckham in his interview, say, hey, man, in a situation like this, what do? You dig. Yeah, but you're actually in a boat. You need everyone to get a bucket and start bailing water. We don't need to dig when we need to get the water out the boat. So the Giants, they not going nowhere. They got their roster's not a real talent one. Season, I thought the Giants would win 6 games. They on pace for about 4 to 6 games. So
that'd be a hell of a turnaround.
They are not underperforming based on the teams that they faced and the style for which that offensive line. They got 5 new ones, but only the left side, I would say, is pro material. The center, right guard, and the right tackle, huge question marks.
This is the second consecutive season the Giants have started 1-5, and there's not a lot of hope that it's going to get much better soon. So the plan that they came into this season with, we're going to retool this offensive line, 5 brand new starters from a year ago. We're going to draft Saquon Barkley with the 2nd overall pick. We're going to be this team that's driven by our offense. We got a chance to compete for a championship while we still have a quarterback that we think is capable of being able to produce when we put him in those types of situations. Guess what? The plan hasn't worked. And just like we talked about Dak Prescott, this being a results-oriented business and based on production, the plan that they put in place is...
It's a failed plan, and a lot has gone into it. The fact that a very highly paid defense is way underperforming. Eli Apple, first round. Boris Jenkins, a big free agent signing a few years ago, was excellent in 2016, underperforming.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like, and I'm not trying to make light of a man. I don't know what it's like for someone to get killed at your house. So I don't expect him to have a great season, Janoris Jenkins. One of his best friends supposedly was, you know, by potentially
his brother.
By his brother. So expecting him to have a bounce-back season after having a bad season last year, Olivier Vernon being hurt with the high ankle sprain the first 5 weeks of the season. Like, man, the people that they do have talent on that defense, they got extenuating circumstances that's why the product is that way on the field.
But I want to ask you something, Canty, because, and I know that obviously not only you played for this team, but you won a Super Bowl with Eli Manning as the quarterback. So I understand you have a real relationship. But right now, how many teams in the league would trade their quarterback situation for the Giants?
Not very many. And here's the reality. You know what kind of quarterback Eli Manning was coming into this year, just because the offensive line play was so bad. But when you have that question mark at the quarterback position, it doesn't make sense to double down on a 37-year-old quarterback when you have the second overall pick. So I understand that Saquon Barkley has been outstanding, being able to have over 100 yards in each of his first 6 games. But what has that done for your team? You have one win through the first third of the season.
Well, they gambled on him not having this season, and he ended up having this season. But it looks like they're going to be right back where they were last year, being able to have a top pick and maybe go back after a quarterback again.
Well, yeah, with all the criticism now, I think it's obvious that they're in direction with the quarterback position.
Sure.
But, I mean, that's just backing into
it's working backwards.
Yeah, it's working backwards. It's backing into a situation in order to get your franchise back on track.
Well, why do you think the Giants are 1-5? Is it all placed on their offensive line?
Well, I think the offensive line is a big part of it, but as a result, over the last several seasons, your quarterback has regressed to the point where his internal clock has sped up. He's just throwing the checkdowns just to get the ball out of his hands because he doesn't want to get hit. Keep in mind, he's 37 years old. What 37-year-old wants to get hit by defensive linemen that are my size? It's just natural. But in looking at that, the Giants need to address that, knowing that they have a suspect offensive line with a quarterback that can offset those deficiencies. That's why the Houston Texans offense can be functional, because they got a quarterback that's got some wheels. The Giants don't have that, but they knew they didn't have that coming into this season. That's why I put a lot of this criticism on the head coach and the general manager, because they're the ones that formulated this plan in the first place.
But the problem is the manager who knew what they had at quarterback got fired for knowing it.
Well, I think the head coach got fired because the organization realized he wasn't a head coach.
Okay,
yes.
That certain was part of it, but we also talked last year about how the Giants only once in the last 40 years have had a short trigger with their head coach, that typically you get more than 2 years with the New York Giants, and it felt to me, and I think a lot of people, that the breaking point was the benching of Eli Manning. Jerry Reese signed off on that. The owner even signed off on that. Then a lot of former all-time greats got mad at him. Giants fans got mad at him. Local media got mad at him, and they decided, you know what? Odell's going to be back. We can go get a left tackle. We're going to draft potentially a generational running back. Our head coach was so bad that we're going to have an upgrade there no matter who we hire. We're going to hire an offensive-friendly guy.
Yep.
But they didn't fix
the general manager, yes. The front office, they decided they're going to go with that. Also, Odell said that's the quarterback I'm going to go with, too. That's why I took that $90 million.
Exactly.
So I don't want to hear nothing from none of you, because that's what you wanted. You didn't want a quarterback? You wanted to go with Eli? I like Eli, but it comes a time and point where, man, we all going to get knocked out of this business. And if y'all think Eli Manning, and I heard about this last night, how much money Eli got in the bank?
Ooh.
100 million? Yeah. I'm just going to tell you, I don't know a man with 100 million going to take a beating. And to think Eli Manning, and that's what he did last night, and that's what's going to happen the rest of the season. That's why you see him checking the ball down to those people. That's why you see him throwing the ball. The guy is rich. He's made a tremendous living in this league, and he is not built for what the Giants offensive linemen are serving up for him.
All right, Chris, thank you so much.
All right, thank you,
got to take
guys,
a break.
for having
Coming
me.
up, is Blake Bortles more trustworthy than Dak Prescott?
Yeah,
We'll be asking
man,
some
I
good
wouldn't have been
questions
here
next.
this morning.
First things first.
career.